What's up, guys? It's Luke here from 13 Motorsports. Going to do installation of a clutch clevis kit on an MR2. This is very good information for any car, any vehicle. So stay tuned, check it out, and if you have any questions or comments, just drop them below. Okay, so investigating one problem with our Project MR2 is that the clutch feels pretty horrible. So if you look at the clutch clevis here, you can see, let's see if I can get it to focus. This thing is actually moving. The bushing's gone and it's worn out so bad that let me take this out, you can see it better. So the bushing's actually worn. You can see how much movement it has before the clutch even starts working or engaging. So that's why the clutch feels like it's on the floor. So what we're gonna do is we have a roller bearing clevis kit that we actually sell on our website. So we're gonna be installing that. Work on it. Or actually, oh no, you could take it off from right here and just drop the pedal. So get that big nut off there. It looks like a 14 or something. And then we should be able to drop this down. And then that's actually good because you see how this is wiggling back and forth. We can inspect the bushing in the pivot there and make sure that's still good. So we'll do that now. All right, so this is what we're working with here. And you can see how much that's moving in and out. That's because this is worn out. So what we're gonna do, take this pin out of here, if I can get it out nicely. Should be able to see this thing's worn out. Oh, shit. Oh, well, my battery's dead, of course. Of course it is. .1532s. 1532s. Yeah, drill the hole out and then bearing should be pretty snug in there. Get a countersink and clean this up first. Get a little hammer so you can tap that in without crushing it. Okay, so we're gonna take this, try to tap this in. So ideally you want to center it in the pedal assembly. So some light taps. It's about center. So after you get done installing the bearing in there, you definitely want to apply the lubricant that we supply with the kit, Super Lube. Right, so just make sure you get the lube like actually in the needle bearings. All right. So you could take like a small screwdriver or something and just work it into the actual bearings, just like you're packing a wheel bearing. Right, and this should reduce the friction to practically nothing. So generally what you'll notice with this is a extremely smooth pedal. Alright, so I'll lubricate it up. And then the next step, we're going to go back to the car, we're going to install the actual clevis in. So this also has roller bearings, so you see it pivots really nicely there. So we're going to install this back, get this in as well, install this, and we're gonna install it in the car because it's easier. Like, you can do it this way and like pre-assemble it, but it's much easier in the car. So let's go do that now. Just wanted to show this. This is the original clevis pin, so you can see the wear on there, and that is just worn right out. This is actually a really common thing on a lot of cars, you know, a lot of older cars with some mileage on it. So this, like, if you have a car, any car, you know, Toyota, Mazda, Honda, whatever, and your clutch pedal has a lot of free play that you can't like adjust out, take this clevis pin out, take a look at it, because what you can do actually, and I've done this in the past, is actually just weld this back up, you know, smooth it out. You don't have to spend a cent, but it'll feel a lot better. And then you go in there and like you replace this nylon bushing, you put some nice grease on it, and it'll work a lot better. And then if this hole is rounded out, or you know, like oblong or whatnot, you can also weld that shut completely and re-drill it. So just a little tip that I've picked up over the years. So we're gonna go now and get back and install this thing. Before we install this, let's talk a little bit about clutch adjustment, like the pedal engagement adjustment. So essentially what we're doing here is we're lengthening the adjustable area. You know, it's this much versus the factory, which is probably about that much. So we'll have more adjustment, and you can actually put more stroke on the master cylinder and thus the slave cylinder. So what you want to do is you want to get the clutch pedal, like the clutch disengagement, to a point where it's not immediately off the floor. And I guess it's a little bit of preference on how you feel, but generally I like the clutch to start to engage about a third of the way up the pedal travel. And then you also want to make sure that there is some free play, because what can happen, especially on high powered cars, is that you end up having some pressure on the pressure plate diaphragm, which essentially, you know, wears out the clutch or doesn't produce maximum clamping force. You know, on a higher power car, you can definitely get into a situation where you know, you're burning out the clutch or overheating it. On a low power car, shit, you might not even notice, but it's definitely something you want to pay attention to. You want to make sure that the clutch is fully engaged and fully disengaged. And that's where, you know, this part really comes in handy, because you have the adjustment and you'll have a nice pedal feel and travel to get you not just a clutch that's operating 100%, but also feels good and comfortable to use. What I'm going to do here, screw this on one-handed swordsman right now. Right, just screw that on right now. I'm going to back the adjuster all the way off, and then before I lock this, I'm going to see what the pedal feels like. So just screw that on a little bit, get the whole assembly in there, which I'm going to do off camera because I can't do 10 things at once. Oh, another thing too, the pedal assembly itself. So what I didn't mention here is that so take some of that super lube and put it in this bushing here, because there is actually like a nylon bushing there, which will also increase the friction. So clean this thing out nicely and then put the super lube in there. I'm gonna go do that on the bench, so I'll be right back. So it's installed. It's actually really easy on this car, a lot easier than the Sleekest I've done. So what you have is the threaded rod in here that goes to the master cylinder, and if you thread this into the clevis, it will reduce the stroke on the master cylinder. If you thread it out, it'll increase it. So saying like, look, I can push this aftermarket clutch, I can just push it with my hand, super easy, and you can see, you know, there's almost no free play. Now there should be some free play at the top, so you do want a little bit of slackness. You don't want, you know, touch the pedal 1 millimeter, it moves 1 millimeter. You do want a little bit of free play, just a small amount, a couple mil really is good enough. Okay, first off, don't get me started on this fucking eBay steering wheel, alright? So just pretend you didn't see that, but okay. It's not in gear, my bad. Blooper! Whoa, there it goes. Okay, so about that much. That's about 1 inch off the floor. So I'm gonna extend it a little bit more, and then I think that'll be perfect for my liking. All right, you can see we're moving. All right, feels really smooth right now. Like the travel is much easier on my leg, and I could hear the release bearing chattering when it's all the way up, so that means it's got enough free play as well. You guys found that informative, and like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for more videos on the Project MR2.